Hey, don't get mad at me for making the Patriots 17-0. I just don't want Diana Rossini to put me on blast, all right? Alright, yo, what is going on, guys? It is your boy, the Football Falcon, and as you can see by the title of the video, we are finally here on the final prediction video. We are doing the AFC East today, and included in this video, we are going to be doing my Super Bowl predictions and my predictions for the playoffs, and I might throw in some MVP predictions and things like that as well in there, or I may do that for another video. You guys let me know if you guys do want to see that in another video, but I'll throw some little tidbits and hints in there today. But we're going to do the AFC East. We're going to do their predictions first to see where everybody ends up, and then we'll go through each conference and see how the playoffs ended up. And, maybe who has the number one pick and things like that. Maybe some notable stuff. And we'll see who I got winning the Super Bowl. So let's get right into it here with the Buffalo Bills. Alrighty, guys. Here we are on the Buffalo Bills, taking a look at their offseason changes. Obviously, starting with their head coach change. Sean McDermott gets fired, and Joe Brady, who's been around the block a couple times with this Bills team, is now their head coach for the first time, which is pretty cool to see. Happy for him and hope he, can succeed here in Buffalo. But we'll take a look here at what they added in the offseason. They go and trade for DJ Moore, probably their most notable addition. The Bills really haven't had that number one receiver since Stephon Diggs left. And they go and trade a second-round pick to go get DJ Moore from the Chicago Bears. And this is an interesting one because I think DJ Moore's upside is very interesting. I think he was good with the Bears, but I don't think he was, that all-pro, that, guy that's really going to elevate and be an alpha receiver. But we saw glimpses of that in there, especially when Justin Fields was the starter and he was the first read. Man, he was getting pepper targets and was going off for this team. But I think it's a fine addition. I think he's going to be solid for them. Obviously, that's not really the main question for this team. I think they make all the receivers work and they all have a certain role. I think the biggest question for this team is going to be how their defense can hold up and, can they get over that hump? I think they have the roster and talent to do it. Taking a look at the rest of their additions here, they signed Trent Sherfield, Dawson Knox comes back here, Shane Zylstra, Austin Corbett, Louis Cushenberry, just back up O-line depth at that point. Other than Zylstra, my boy at tight end, Lions legend there. Got Connor McGovern back on a deal. They signed Mike Dana, former Kansas City Chief. Bradley Chubb comes in here, who was probably their biggest defensive addition. Just has been an injury-prone guy his entire career. When he's been healthy, he's been a solid player. But obviously, the goal for him is to just be a healthy player for this team, and he can contribute. That'd be nice. They bring in D. Alford from the Falcons, who had a solid year last year. He gets a pretty nice 3-year deal in free agency from the Bills. And then they go and get Chauncey Gardner-Johnson, who is a notable name, but obviously he's just kind of bounced around. And he's, good energy guy, and he's solid safety, so solid there. They also get Geno Stone as well, and then bring back Tyler Bass. But as we take a look at this depth chart, man, this team's got the talent. Obviously, you've got Josh Allen, who is at worst the second best quarterback in the NFL at the moment. You got James Cook, who's coming off a pretty big year himself. Ray Davis and Ty Johnson are fine running back depth. Then you got DJ Moore, obviously, who we just talked about. Then Khalil Shakir, very solid slot and run after catch threat. Man, he's turned into a fun player out of Boise State. Keon Coleman, big year for him in year 3 now already, which is kind of crazy. But 400 yards last year, second round pick out of Florida State, almost at Michigan State, but that's where he was at before. But obviously you want to see a little more with him being, the first pick in the second round, but I do think he's going to be solid for them. McCole Hardman, Skylar Bell, 4th-round pick out of UConn this year, Josh Palmer, all just kind of depth at that point. And then Dalton Kincaid, another guy that's kind of been banged up. Hopefully he can stay healthy and be a good player for this team, and I like their O-line as well. And then taking a look at their defense, I think they got some talent as well. TJ Sanders, I think a breakout year 2 guy. Deion Walker, the 4th-round pick out of Kentucky. He has shown some flashes. He's been pretty solid for them in camp as well. It was good in the preseason, too, the first preseason game. So excited for Deion Walker this year for the Bills. You got Ed Oliver, obviously, who's been a solid pick and player for this team over some years. Greg Russo, obviously, out of Miami. He was pretty highly touted coming out. Dorian Williams, contract year for him, I believe. Hopefully he can continue to turn it up at the linebacker spot. Terrell Bernard's been really solid. Bradley Chubb obviously coming in here. We talked about him. And this secondary is really fun. Christian Benford, one of the more underrated corners in the league. Cole Bishop, Geno Stone, Maxwell Harrison, and C.J. Gardner-Johnson, all solid. But one guy I'm really excited to see how he turns out is Jalen Kilgore out of South Carolina. So really excited for him. But we'll get into the predictions here. Like I said, we only got 6 games for each team. I do have the Bills starting out losing to the Texans in week 1. I do have them bouncing back against the Lions in week 2 on Thursday night, then beating the Chargers in week 3. And then week 4, they got a pivotal game at home against the Patriots. This is a tough one. It's crazy to get 3 straight home games, but I'm going to take the Patriots in this one. I think the Patriots are definitely a talented enough team to steal one from the Bills, and I'm going to take the Patriots in this one. I ultimately think they will split, but this is going to be a very fun matchup both times they play. They were last year, so very excited for that. I do have the Bills upsetting the Rams week 5 in LA on Monday night. The last time these two teams played, it was a fireworks show, so I'm expecting nothing less than that in week 5. Week 6, I have the Bills beating the Raiders as they go into the week 7 bye. They get the Ravens at home. I have them winning that one. And then week 9, I have them playing the Minnesota Vikings. I have them winning that game. They do get the Jets on the road in New York in week 10. I ultimately think they do win that game. I think that's going to be a fun one for them. And then week 11, they get the Dolphins. The Dolphins actually beat the Bills last year, which is kind of funny. But ultimately, I will take the Bills in that one as well. Week 13, they get the Patriots on the road. I'm going to be honest, man. This is a tough matchup for the Bills. I'm not going to lie. Give me a hot take here. I think the Patriots sweep the Bills this year in the regular season. I do think it's a little bit of a hot take for sure, but just later in the year, I think the Patriots are just still a really good team. Obviously, they made the Super Bowl last year, and they got better on paper. It's going to be interesting to see how that works out there. But I'm going to take the Patriots actually to sweep them. I kind of changed my mind there. I do have them beating the Packers in week 14, the Bears, and the Broncos in a row, getting some revenge on the Broncos. And in week 17, they go to Miami to play the Dolphins. I think they're going to take care of business there. And week 18, I think they're going to rest their starters, and I'll take the Jets to beat them at the end of the season. So I've got the Bills at 13-4, a very strong record in Joe Brady's first year. It might be the best first-year record. Correct me if I'm wrong. I'd have to really look into that. But a very strong season for the Bills, but obviously the regular season is not what matters. They got to go get it done in the playoffs, and we'll see later in this video if I have them getting it done. But we'll head on to New England and do the Patriots here and get them taken care of, and we'll talk about the Patriots roster and who I think they're going to turn out this year. Alrighty, guys, and we are here on the New England Patriots and taking a look at their offseason additions. They go and sign Elijah Vera-Tucker from the in-division Jets. I do like that addition. Reggie Gilliam from the Bills, so they do a couple of in-division additions. And their big move, and I've been talking about this move for the longest time, and I'm just going to say this now. Like I said, I'm not a person that talks about fantasy, or at least yet. We're going to be doing that soon, but I want all the A.J. Brown stock I could possibly buy. I am drafting A.J. Brown in every league I possibly can this year. He gets acquired in a trade with the Eagles. Obviously, they give up the 5th rounder this year and the 1st rounder next year. I absolutely love this move for the Patriots. I think A.J. Brown is going to have such a big year for this team. I think he's going to get so many targets down the field. Him and Drake May's connection's already been showing up. I'm so excited for this. And honestly, this is probably Drake May or A.J. Brown's best quarterback he's ever played with. Call me controversial there. I know a lot of people like Jalen Hurts, but obviously A.J. Brown had Ryan Tannehill and Marcus Mariota in Tennessee. No offense to those guys. I think they're solid players, but I don't think, A.J. Brown's been able to have a guy to get the deep ball to him like Drake May will be able to. Obviously, Jalen Hurts has had those good connections, but I just love this connection in this edition. I'm so excited for it. And then they get Romeo Doubs as well, who's not a nothing signing. He was very solid for the Packers. Just the only problem with him is just he couldn't stay on the field. The concussions really got to him and banged him up quite a bit in his career there. But when he's played, he's been solid. Good possession receiver, good contested catch ball winner down the field. Jordan Love, gave him a lot of chances, and he come down with a lot of them. So they give him 4 years, $70 million. That is not a nothing contract. So very excited for him. Other than that, kind of quiet additions other than Kevin Byard, who led the league in picks last year. But he's just an aging veteran. He's a little older. So kind of going to be interesting to see how he does here. But we'll get to the Patriots here. Not much going on here. All these ads are going crazy. I do have them losing to Seattle to start the season, but I have them bouncing back against the Steelers, the Jaguars, and the Bills in the first 4 games. I have them at 3-1. Week 5, they get the Raiders at home. I have them winning that one. And then they get the Jets in week 6. I'm going to take the Patriots in that one as well. Week 7, they go to the Bears to play Chicago. I have them winning that one on a short week. And then they get the Dolphins in week 8. I don't know why. This is just a weird game. I feel like the Patriots will lose. I'm going to take the Dolphins in this one. There's no really much analysis here, but the Dolphins have a sneaky okay offense, I think. On paper, they could be decent this year offensively. Defensively, they absolutely terrify me, though, even though Jeff Hafley is a defensive-minded guy. But we'll move on with that one. I'm going to say the Dolphins win in a crazy upset there. We've seen crazier with these two teams. I do have them beating the Packers and the Lions in Germany as they head into the Week 11 bye. They come off the bye to play the Chargers. I have them winning that game and then beating the Bills and Vikings back-to-back and then losing to the Chiefs in Week 15. Week 16, they go to the Jets to play New York. I do have them winning that game. And then Week 18, they get the Miami Dolphins at home, and I'm going to take them ultimately in that one. Week 17, I had to beat losing to the Broncos at home. So I've got the Patriots at 13-4 as well. I don't know what the tiebreaker is going to be, but I got them with the same record as the Bills. I think this is just a, going to be a clawing fight to the end here in this division. So very excited to see how that turns out. But I got both of them going 13-4 and having really solid campaigns and strong chances to be Super Bowl teams this year between Buffalo and New England. But let's change to a more negative tone here. We've got the bottom feeders in this AFC East, the Miami Dolphins and the New York Jets. We're going to do the Miami Dolphins first, so we'll talk about their additions and where I have them going here in 2026. It's actually crazy just looking at it. This AFC East has two teams that have chances to go to the Super Bowl, and then you got two teams at the bottom with chances to have the first pick in the draft. It's just absolutely crazy. It's like two opposites. But anyway, we got the Miami Dolphins here. Obviously, they get rid of Mike McDaniel, and he has the Chargers to be the OC. And they bring in Jeff Hafley from the Green Bay Packers, former DC of the Packers, and now the head coach of Miami. And Malik Willis follows him along here to Miami, and they give him a 3-year, $67 million contract. I do like the addition of Malik Willis, at least for the upside. Showed flashes for the Packers after being traded from the Titans for about, I think, a 7th-round pick. So pretty much was a flyer addition, and he earned himself a nice contract. So whether or not Malik Willis works out here will be determined, but you got to give Malik Willis credit. His career didn't start off the greatest, and he earned himself a great $67 million contract, so awesome on his part. Good to see that. But Devon Achane, obviously, he's the building block here on offense. They give him the 4-year, $68 million extension. They've been talking about how they're going to give him 30 touches a game. We'll see how that works out, but I think Devon Achane's going to have a big year as long as he can stay healthy. He is a rock star as a running back. They got Tutu Atwell as well, Jalen Reagor, kind of a whatever addition. Jalen Tolbert, a decent addition. Solid wide receiver 3 for the Cowboys the last couple of years. They bring back Greg Dulcich. Ben Sims, decent little tight end from the Packers, follows over here. Aaron Brewer gets extended, who was nice. David Ojabo, I like the addition of him. Josh Uche as well. Marco Wilson, Zane Anderson coming over from the Packers. Special teamer Ronnie Harrison, the former Falcon, signs, and they get Bradley Pinion as well at punter, and Zane Gonzalez. A lot of former Falcons on this team, which is interesting, and Riley Patterson. So they signed 2 kickers that were former Falcons. Okay. But one thing that's interesting about this Dolphins team is their draft. I know we didn't talk about the draft for the Patriots, so we'll actually go over that too while we're at it. But I do really like what the Dolphins did in the draft. They had a solid first draft under this new regime and coaching staff, and I like what they did. So they had a lot of picks with it, but I was a big fan of Chris Johnson and Jacob Rodriguez coming out, the corner out of San Diego State and linebacker at Texas Tech. Love those first 2 picks. Caden Proctor was a little high at 12, but obviously you could develop and turn out better than that. Chris Bell is just now getting activated off the torn ACL, but he's a nice high upside receiver out of Louisville. Kyle Lewis was a guy, shout out my guy Avian. He was really high on him as well. He's a good Falcons content creator. Go check him out. Kevin Coleman could be a decent slot receiver. So I like what they did in the draft. I know we are kind of backtracking here, but we'll take a look at what the Patriots did as well. Caleb Lomu, Gabe Yakis, Eli Raridan, Karen Prunty. They just made some interesting picks. I mean, this is just the Patriots and how they do. They just are they beat to their own drum, and that's what they've done forever. But anyway, let's get into the Miami Dolphins here. They got the Raiders week 1. I do have them losing that game, and to the Niners, and to the Chiefs. But I have their first win coming in week 4, beating the Minnesota Vikings. I think that could be an interesting one for them, so hopefully the Dolphins can get a win there. I do have them losing to the Bengals the next week as they head into the week 6 bye, but they're coming off the bye to go to New York to play the Jets. The Dolphins are going crazy. They just got their 2nd win of the year. They are hot, and they get a gauntlet schedule after that. They do get the Patriots, though, and I have them winning that game, so 2 wins in a row. Are the Dolphins back? They just might be. Unfortunately not. They got to play the Lions at home. I do have them losing that game. They do go to Indianapolis to play the Colts. They did in week 1 this year, and they got destroyed. I think that's going to happen again this year. Week 11, they go to Buffalo to play the Bills. I do not have them winning that one, unfortunately. And then they get the Jets in week 12. This is an interesting one because I did have them winning the first matchup. I do like the Jets in some aspects. They got a young team, but the Dolphins also have a young team. But I'm going to take the Jets here in this one. I think they ultimately will split. It's going to be interesting to see how that turns out. Week 13, I have them playing the Broncos and losing that one, and to the Bears, and to the Packers in Lambeau. Dolphins and cold weather games are going to be interesting to see how they do this year. They get the Chargers and Bills at home. In week 16 and 17, I have them dropping those and then losing to the Patriots to end the year. In week 18, I've got the Dolphins at 3-14. I mean, this is just kind of what Dolphins fans are expecting. If they can get to 5 or 6 wins, I feel like that'd be an overachieving season for them just based on the expectations and the roster talent. But if they do better than this, that'd be great, obviously. But, you hope they can do a little better than this. But, if not, they'll have the number 1 pick or, a top 3 pick at worst and be able to land a really nice prospect in the draft, which when we get to draft season, I can't wait to do mock drafts. That's going to be so fun. But, yeah, that's where I got the Dolphins at. I got them at 3-14, and let's finish things off with the Jets, and then we'll get into the playoff predictions. Well, I've actually done all of the Jets stuff, so we don't really have to do much analysis here. I've got them with the same record as the Miami Dolphins at 3-14. Obviously, a lot of growing pains with this team, but I think this team has more talent than Miami. I just think they're probably a quarterback away, and they need a lot of help. So I will talk about the Jets, though, for a second, because we're not going to let the Jets fans not have any analysis here. They trade for Geno Smith, who I thought was fine. He was not good at all for the Raiders, but could be a decent starter for them. I know he's dealing with a foot injury right now, so hopefully he can get back to healthy. Breece Hall is also dealing with an injury as well. Correct me if I'm wrong. I want to say it's, what is it, a groin or an ankle or something? Correct me if I'm wrong in the comments on that one, but gets a 3-year extension here. Obviously, they're trying to use him as the bell cow as well this year. They were talking about that, so initially getting the franchise tag there, but I'm excited to see what Breece Hall can do. Obviously, they go and get Jelani Woods, and they get a couple other guys. Dylan Parham from the Raiders, bringing in on an O-lineman as well. Kingsley Adegbare from the Packers, 1 year, $10 million. Joseph Asai from the Bengals. David Onyemata from the Falcons. T'Vondre Sweat, they acquire in a trade with the Titans. They get Jermaine Johnson. Demario Davis comes back to the Jets, trying to end his career here. Nashawn Wright, who was solid for the Bears, got a lot of interceptions, and guess how many the Jets had last year as a defense? 0. So hopefully they can get more than that. And then obviously they get Minkah Fitzpatrick in a trade, which was kind of an underrated move. I did like that. So cool to get him, and they get him a 3-year extension. So Minkah Fitzpatrick could be solid. They do get Andre Cisco, or they re-sign him, and then they get Dane Belton. So a couple of solid additions. And one thing I did love about the Jets and what they did, they absolutely killed this draft in my opinion. And what I love is that they didn't panic and take a quarterback or anything like that until later in the draft. They didn't take a guy early. David Bailey at 2. I know that is the one pick I'm a little critical of. Man, if they would have took Ruben Bain at 2, and I'm going to die on this hill, this would have been probably the best draft in the NFL this year. I know that, Ruben Bain going at 15, him going at number 2 is a little, kind of a high expectation for him, but he was so good coming out of Miami. If he had the arm length that David Bailey had, he probably goes number 2. But obviously the short arms and all that just scare the scouts or whatever. So David Bailey goes number 2. I think his upside is decent. I do like him. Obviously, I'm a Ruben Bain guy all the way. I hate that he went to my interdivision rival Buccaneers, but I think David Bailey could be a solid player, but I like Ruben Bain a little bit more. So Kenyon Sadiq, obviously hyper-athletic tight end. I do love him. Omar Cooper Jr. made some great catches at Indiana. D'Angelo Ponce has got a really, really high upside as a slot corner in the NFL. Hopefully the size doesn't hurt him more than I think it could. Darrell Jackson was fine. Kay Klubnik, fine 4th-round dart throw at quarterback. If Geno doesn't work, put Kay Klubnik in, see what you got. If you end up 3-14 like I have them going, they're in line for a quarterback next year anyway. So that's where I got the Jets at 3-14. My biggest question for the Jets is, do you have a future quarterback on this team, obviously? And is this defense going to show any signs of progression after being very disappointing last year? I know we didn't talk about the biggest question marks for the Dolphins, but the Dolphins are just in an evaluation season. Is Malik Willis going to be worth the contract? And are any of these receivers going to step up that they invested in? And for the Patriots, I think their biggest question mark is the offensive line, their additions they made, so hopefully they're good there. But let's go over the conference, man, for the AFC and NFC. The 1 seed in the AFC, I've got the Cincinnati Bengals at 13-4. A couple teams going 13-4 in the AFC. I've got the Chiefs and Patriots with the same records going 13-4. I've got the Texans going 12-5. I got the Bills losing the tiebreaker to the Patriots and going 13-4 also. I got the Broncos going 12-5 and the Ravens going 12-5 and making the playoffs. We got the Steelers missing the playoffs at 9-8, so Aaron Rodgers will not make the playoffs in my predictions for his final year. I've got the Jaguars, Titans, and Chargers going 8-9, just missing out. I've got the Colts and Browns going 5-12. I've got the Raiders at 3-14, even though I think they've got talent. And I've got the Dolphins and Jets as well at 3-14. And then looking in the NFC, we already went over them before, but we'll go over it again. I got the Seahawks at 12-5, Eagles 11-6, Packers 11-6, Saints winning the South at 8-9, Rams 11-6, Bears 10-7, Cowboys 9-8, all making the playoffs. And then teams just missing in the NFC, I've got the Giants, Niners, and Lions at 8-9, the Commanders, Bucks, Falcons 7-10, Vikings, Panthers 6-11, and the Cardinals finishing at 3-14. And here we are, man. It is finally time to get the playoffs going. I'm so excited to do the playoff predictions, so let's get right into it, man. The AFC and the NFC, we'll go over the matchups and who I got winning each one. Alrighty, guys, so after we did all of the regular season predictions, these are the playoff matchups that I spit out and what I have. We'll do the AFC first, and then we'll do the NFC. So we got the Houston Texans, who win the AFC South, hosting the Buffalo Bills. And boy, this would be a fire matchup. DeMeco Ryans in that Texans defense going against Josh Allen and the Bills. This would be a Week 1 rematch because they play Week 1 this year. Very, very excited for this matchup. And I'm going to ultimately go with the Houston Texans to get a big home playoff win. I know a lot of people are critical of CJ Stroud, but I think this Texans defense alone can win this game for them. And I know the Bills have Josh Allen, but man, they played him last year and struggled. They just really didn't get anything going. I know DJ Moore's a nice addition, but the Texans are just such a talented roster on paper. I'm ultimately going to go with the Texans in this one. We got the Patriots hosting the Denver Broncos. This is going to be a tough one for the Broncos to win on the road. Patriots obviously coming off the Super Bowl appearance, and they obviously beat the Broncos without Bo Nix, though. So will Bo Nix be healthy for this game? You know, obviously that's a big question mark. Obviously he's coming off a big leg injury, but they did make the playoffs in my predictions, so who do I got in this one? This is a really tough one to predict because this is just something that's so hard. I'm gonna go with the Patriots here. I'm gonna ultimately take the Patriots still. I think the Broncos are a very talented team, but ultimately I think the Patriots are gonna get this one done and take care of business. And then we got the Chiefs, the 2 seed hosting the 7 seed Ravens. So the Ravens do make the playoffs. They get 12 wins, but they're the 7 seed. So that's how high I am on this AFC. I think it's a very stacked group. This is a tough one, man. I think the Ravens are in an ultimate prove-it year with Lamar and company, and Jesse Minter obviously in his first year. I can't bet against Mahomes and the Chiefs. I know I've got them a little higher than a lot of people do, but it's just so hard to go against Andy Reid and Mahomes in the playoffs, and I feel like they're still an underrated team. I don't know why people don't think they're going to be good this year just because they had injuries last year and things just didn't go well. They won the Super Bowl with a much worse receiving core, and they have a run game now, so I don't know. I'm just very high on the Chiefs, but I'm going to take them to beat the Ravens here. As we go to the NFC, things are a little more cut and dry here. We've got the New Orleans Saints hosting the LA Rams. I think this is a pretty easy pick for me. I'm ultimately going to take the Rams, but I think the Saints had a great year. This would be a great year for them, making the playoffs, and Tyler Shutt getting his first playoff appearance. That would be really cool for them. But ultimately, I do think the Rams are the much better team. I think this game could get ugly, but I'll take the Rams in this one. We got the Philadelphia Eagles hosting the Dallas Cowboys. So this one would be very interesting. We got Jalen Hurts hosting Dak Prescott in Dallas. This is a tough one, man. Dallas squeaking in as the 7 seed, but man, that offense is good enough to beat anybody any given day. It's a tough matchup. Give me the upset here. I'm going to go with the Dallas Cowboys to go into Philly and get this win. I think the Cowboys' offense is good enough, and if the defense can just be okay this year, I think they're a team that matches well against the Eagles and can beat Jalen Hurts and those guys. And then, obviously, we got a big one here. The Packers and the Bears. Obviously, we know what happened the last time these two played in the wild card round. The Packers were 21-3 and blew the game to the Bears. I don't think that's going to happen this time, but I don't know if I could take the Packers, man. I'm going to go with the Bears here. I think the Bears still have the better head coach. Quarterback's a push. I know the rosters are close. I think the Packers' defense is better, but man, it's just so hard to bet against what Caleb Williams and Ben Johnson have been able to do because ever since Ben Johnson's come there, Caleb Williams has become a better quarterback. I know the completion percentage and stuff isn't there, but this is year 2 in that system, and if he can put it all together, I think it's going to be a really special year. So I think the Packers are going to lose in the wild card round again here, unfortunately, as we'll go to the divisional round and take care of those and see where these guys end up going here in these next matchups. We got the former Super Bowl champion Seattle Seahawks hosting the Dallas Cowboys, who are the 7 seed. Obviously, I had Dallas upsetting the Eagles last week, but I think this is what's going to end their season here. They got to go to Seattle to play the Seahawks. I just think that's an absolute gauntlet of a matchup. I know getting the upset over Philly is great and all, but this is just a hard matchup for the Cowboys here, and I'm going to take Seattle to win that one. DeMarcus Lawrence beating his former team in his final season will be hilarious. And then we got another matchup here. We got the Rams and the Bears. Going to be a tough one, man, and I'm ultimately going to take the Rams. I just think the talent's too much to overcome for Caleb Williams and the Bears. I think the Bears obviously getting to the divisional round again would suck for them because they've been so close, getting over the hump the last couple of years. Well, it'll be like that in this if they lose this one. But I'm ultimately going to take the Rams. Just a tough matchup for Chicago. It's hard for me to take McVay and Stafford and take somebody over them. So it's going to be very fun, man. While you're here in the championship weekend, we got the Cincinnati Bengals hosting the Kansas City Chiefs, and we got the Seattle Seahawks hosting the LA Rams. Whew, this is so exciting. I love both of these matchups. Obviously, the Bengals and Chiefs, they have a lot of history in the playoffs. We got the Burrowhead drama. The Bengals went to Kansas City to win to go to the Super Bowl in 2021. The Chiefs beat the Bengals a couple times. Then you got the Seahawks and Rams on the NFC side. They just played last year in the NFC Championship. What are the odds of them being back here again? I don't know, but that's where I got them at. But ultimately here in the AFC, this is such a tough decision. I am so high on the Bengals. Am I going to stick to my guns here and have them beat the Chiefs in the AFC Championship and go to the Super Bowl? I am. I'm so high on this Bengals team. I think this is the year Joe Burrow is going to stay healthy and be a Super Bowl team. That defense is better than it was last year. I think this is the team that's going to get over the hump and get to the Super Bowl to play the Rams. And it's going to be in SoFi. And I did take the Rams. A little spoiler there. I think the Rams are going to win this game and make it to Super Bowl 61 against the Cincinnati Bengals. And what a poetic rematch this would be 5 years later in the same stadium. The Bengals playing against the LA Rams. I love the Seattle Seahawks, by the way. No, nothing against them. I just think the Rams have such a talented team, and they went all in to get to this point. And I think the Seahawks are going to come up just short of going to back-to-back Super Bowls for the second time in their franchise's history. They did it back in 2012 and 13 and won one, so that'd be cool. But as for the Super Bowl pick, we got the Bengals and the Rams. It's such a tough decision because the Rams are the team you trust more. Will they have Aaron Donald? It's so hard to convince me to go against the Rams. I just don't know because I don't want to have this be a bias thing either because I'm so high on the Bengals this year. I'm genuinely just sitting here and thinking about it now, like who really could win this game. It's tough. It really is. But ultimately, in the end, I think this year's Super Bowl is going to belong to the Los Angeles Rams. It's so tough, man. I really love the Bengals this year, and if they get this far to lose to the Rams again 5 years later, that would be an absolute heartbreaker. But, man, this Rams team is so good. I mean, there's no way you can't tell me to my face that this team's not favored to win the Super Bowl with the moves they made in the offseason. So, I think the Bengals definitely could be a team that wins the Super Bowl, though. Obviously, as you can see, I've predicted them to get there. So, I would much rather see the Bengals win the Super Bowl. That'd be much cooler, but I just think the Rams and their offense and defense is just so talented and so good. It's going to be impossible for me to go against them with their roster talent and coaching talent. So that's where I got it, guys. I got the Rams winning the Super Bowl. I got Devontae probably retiring a Super Bowl champion. Puka Nacua getting his ring. Stafford getting 2, cementing his Hall of Fame case. Aaron Donald coming out of retirement. A Cinderella season for the Rams. And as for the Bengals, another heartbreak. 2 Super Bowl appearances, 2 losses to the same team and the same quarterback. So hopefully the Bengals can overcome that. But if not, we'll see. And that is where I got it, man. That is the end of my predictions. We have finally made it. I want to see if I can pull up the draft picks here. We'll see if I can do that. I don't know if I can. We'll see here. Let's see if I can load up the draft picks. I don't know how to do that on this. Not going to lie. But if not, it's all good. It doesn't look like we'll be able to find it. But that's going to do it, though. I think who ended up with the first pick? It'd be the Cardinals or Dolphins. So that's where I got that either. Cardinals or Dolphins. Or no, Cardinals or Jets, actually. Jets were the worst team. So that's where I got everybody, man. I got the LA Rams being your Super Bowl champions and getting it done in 2026. You guys let me know what you think in the comments. Who do you got winning the Super Bowl? Who do you got, being a team that is surprising this year? Who do you got being disappointing? I got a lot of predictions out there, thrown out there for you guys. So I would say out of the teams that I predicted, I would say my sleeper team this year coming in, I think the Bengals obviously are one of them, but I would say my ultimate like sleeper team, I think that's going to be better than what people say. I don't know, man. It's actually kind of tough to say. I would say I'm a little higher on the Titans than a lot of people are. Have them going 8-9. I think a lot of people have them going like 5-12 or 6-11. I would say my team I think disappoints this year is the Chargers this year. I could be wrong, but we'll see. I think the Chargers are a solid team, but a lot of people have them with pretty high expectations. Dallas making the playoffs would be cool, getting them back in the mix. The Giants I'm decently high on. I'd say the Niners are a team I think disappoints as well, but I'd say the Texans and Bengals are the teams I think are going to be better than what people think. So let me know what you guys think, man. That is the end of the predictions. Up next, we are going to be starting fantasy rankings before the 2026 season. Hopefully, you guys enjoyed the video. If you guys haven't yet, make sure to leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And let me know what you guys think of the video. And let me know what you guys want to see next. It's your boy, the Football Falcon, and I'm out. Peace, guys.